Hi everyone. So tomorrow, 4th of August, we have a new moon in Leo. Of course, it's Leo season at the moment, so happy birthday, all you Leos out there. This is very much about us setting intentions and manifesting for the next lunar cycle ahead when it comes from that authentic expression of self, from soul essence perspective, and also from a heart-centered place. Leo, of course, rules the 5th house in astrology, so that does represent love and it does represent joy. It's also about authentic artistic expression, creativity in that way. And we know that Leo can also symbolize courage and strength. So up to this point on our healing journey, of course, understanding what it is that's in alignment for us and what isn't, we may have understood more about the types of things that we want to do that brings us more joy. Okay, where we can receive that energy back, and also the people that we're around that bring us joy, and so on. So we've obviously understood a lot on this journey of evolution, as we do all the time. We're always evolving, we're always learning. But this now feels to be very sort of shiny. And when I say shiny, I mean about the sun shining, okay, because Leo does represent that sun energy. Okay, the sun rules the sign of Leo. So it's a very, very expansive force. And also the sun shines regardless of what is going on. Okay, there is great force and great power to the sun. And therefore there is great force and great power to the sign of Leo. The courageous lion spirit comes forth with regards to Leo as well, because sometimes we do need to summon that energy in order to make things happen. Leo is, of course, a fire sign, so it is about taking action and having that motivation and that courage to do so. So for this new lunar cycle that the new moon kicks off, it's all about that expansive expression of the soul from a heart-centered place and from a place of joy. Okay, so where we're expressing that joy as an authentic soul because of wanting to receive more of it. Okay. Now, obviously, you know, there's a lot more going on in the astrology than just us saying the moon's in Leo, and for a new moon, that means the moon is conjunct the sun, because that's what happens with a new moon. There's a lot more going on than that, okay? So we need to look at the astrology, and for those of you that would have seen my social media page on Instagram, I have posted the chart, and I've obviously drawn on the chart, which you'll see in a moment as I pull it up for you, those aspects that were of particular sort of relevance to me and resonance to me as an intuitive reader, as an intuitive astrologer in that way, in terms of the key things to inform you about. Of course, there's a lot more going on than that. Astrology has many layers, but these are the key points that I wanted to relate to you. And one of which relates to this yod that's going on, okay, and that's a finger of God. And it's something that's quite rare in a chart, but I will show it you in a moment because Venus is in the mix here. And the reason why I'm bringing up Venus and I'm talking about investments of, you know, where we're actually investing our energy in order to receive that joy back in the heart space is because Venus at the point of the new moon is sat on Regulus. And that is the Regal star. That's 29 degrees of Leo. It's the final degrees, of course, that a planet or a planetary body can be in before it moves into another sign. So there is great power and significance to this. And for me, intuitively, what it felt was this new moon is all about regal values. Okay, it's about regal Venus values, but regal values. So those values that are actually in alignment with us as a sovereign being. So consider yourself to be the king or queen of your own life, the god, the goddess of your own life, okay? And not accepting anything that is less than what you deserve, okay? When it comes to your values, when it comes to that Venus energy, it's very important. This is about upholding sovereignty. And understanding that, of course, Aries is in the mix now with sovereignty because that is the 1st house of self. And Chiron is, of course, in Aries at this moment in time. So there is a healing journey going on relating to our sovereignty. But Leo is all about that regalness of actually getting that crown and, you know, adjusting it accordingly. So this is my crown. I am regal. I am sovereign. These are my values. Are you going to respect me? Okay. Is that in alignment with me or not? and having the courage to actually say, speak up, do, act, whatever it might be, in accordance with those values. So let's pull up the chart and I will show you the astrology. Okay, so bear with me whilst I just find the chart for you. And interestingly, for the UK, this is happening in the first house of South. So there we go. So here we are, the new moon in Leo. Okay, as I said, 4th of August, and it's happening for us in the UK at 12:13 British summer time. So apply your own time zones as appropriate. But regardless of where you are in the world, it's happening on the 4th of August. This is the start of that new lunar cycle. And I mentioned in my social media post that, of course, the moon and sun are at 12 degrees, 34 minutes of Leo. So from a numerological point of view, and this was just an intuitive feeling that I had, of course, that reduces to 3 and 7. So this is about divine manifestations. And that ties in with that regalness, okay? Because when we are aligned with our sovereignty and we uphold our regal essence, we are more in alignment with source energy, because we are more in alignment with the divinity that we hold within, okay? And naturally, as we evolve, things, people, whatever it might be, are going to fall out of alignment with us. That is part of the journey, but it can feel quite intense. And of course, we've just had 2 full moons in Capricorn with a new moon in Cancer in the middle, where we've had to really feel the feelings about all of this, but also understand what we've needed to detach from and what we still need to detach from in some cases. So that's been heavy, as if it's not been heavy enough for us. But you know what I'm saying? This is about building up to this understanding of, I am regal, I am sovereign, and this is what I want to manifest for my reality in accordance with that, in alignment with that. Okay, so you'll see here the arrow pointing to the moon, conjunct the sun, as I've mentioned. And also in Leo, we've got Vesta at 20 degrees, and we've got Venus at 29 degrees. So I've just mentioned 29 degrees is Regulus, the regal star. And I know this not only from knowing astrology, but because I've got something in my own natal chart that is right on top of Regulus, okay? So this is about owning your regal essence. And from a place of your values and understanding that it's very important at this time to take note of where you are investing that Venus energy. And the Venus energy can simply be your energy. So when I talk about resources, Venus resources, that can simply be your energy, your time, your money, your love, your attention. Where are your Venus resources going to? Who are they going to? Is there a return of that? Okay, so it's understanding that. But this is now from a regal point of view. Before Venus moves into Virgo, okay, which is going to happen the following day. And by the way, that's the same day that Mercury starts his retrograde. So there's going to be a lot of introspection going on there. This is that moment where we have to really take stock of the regal essence within. Okay, and I'm probably going to say regal quite a lot during this video, so bear with me on that one. But we've got, you know, there's feminine energy in Leo because we've got Vesta and Venus, and Vesta is all about the sacred flame. So what inspires us? What or who what or who is our muse? Okay, I was trying to blend the words there already. As well as knowing that we've got our emotional home in there with the moon, and we've also got the soul essence with the sun. So understanding, okay, what does inspire us? Who does inspire us on an emotional level, on a soul level? Are we investing in those places, in those people? Okay, so understanding that. Now, if we look at what else is going on, okay, you'll see many different lines, and of course there's other things going on, but this is what I was intuitively drawn to and guided to show you today. Okay, we have got both the sun and the moon because they are conjunct. Okay, we've got a sextile over to Mars in Gemini, and we've also got this trine that's going to the North Node in Aries. Okay, so the North Node is our path, our purpose, our guiding light. That is the direction we're heading towards. We're moving away from the South Node, which is where we've come from, towards the North Node. Okay, so that's the direction that we're heading ultimately. And being in Aries, the direction we're heading is our sovereignty. And it's all about the self. This is all about our path, our journey. So the trine here is a harmonious aspect in astrology, as is a sextile, by the way. But there is great harmony here between, okay, the new moon guiding us forward on our path, on our purpose in relation to our sovereignty, if we can uphold that regalness. Okay, and similarly with the trine, with the sextile going across to Mars and also Jupiter as well in Gemini, this is also symbolic of expansion and hope. Okay, but needing to be open-minded here, because Gemini often asks us to look at things from two sides. It asks us to be inquisitive, curious. We might need to sort of delve into things to understand. It's quite a logical approach, and we do need to feel into things before we can then take that logical approach. So if we're feeling into that regalness and we understand, we might need to just open our minds, expand our perception of the situation in order to receive that enlightenment and then take the action, because Mars is there. So that's the masculine energy. So we've got Venus, the feminine energy, you know, on the one side with Leo in terms of that regalness and really kind of embodying the regal values. And then Mars wanting to take action, but maybe needing to investigate something or just be curious and be open-minded about how certain things are going to unfold. And certainly with new moons and when we're manifesting, it's very important to release expectation of outcome. Okay, not necessarily manifesting a specific thing, but almost the feeling that it creates, like the joy that I was mentioning with the Leo energy, the happiness, the heart-centered love and joy that we can experience from something, and then the universe will deliver it in such a way that's in alignment with us in a divine way. But sometimes we need to be open-minded to how that might unfold. Okay, so there is surrender to that as well, and that's also something that we can do from a regal place, because we've got that knowledge and that wisdom as a sovereign being, as a god or goddess, to understand that yes, these are my values. I'm going to set the intentions for this. I want this to be my reality. I want to feel like this. I want to experience this. And I'm going to allow the universe to deliver that to me, because I'm a god or a goddess. And I know that with my regal values in check, if I'm not accepting anything less than that, then of course I'm going to receive, but it's being open to receive as well. Okay, in a curious way, in an inquisitive way. Now there is a square, and that is the red line that's going down to Poseidon. Okay, now there's some of these asteroids that I do include on the chart, okay, because I look into certain things with these. And Poseidon, of course, there is great mythology with Poseidon, but being in Scorpio, this is about shaking up the waters on a deep level. Okay, so it can feel challenging. A square provides us that symbolism that it can be challenging for us. So if a situation or an experience or just how we are feeling is actually shaking up the waters, it's actually forcing us to do something. It's forcing us to make changes that's needed in alignment with our sovereignty. And ultimately, with that trine that's going from the sun and moon to the North Node, it's all for the betterment of our path and purpose, but it just might feel challenging, okay? But we need to have those waters shaken up on a deep level, because we need to unearth those things that maybe we've not looked at previously. And that's again where the Gemini energy comes in with Jupiter and Mars, because perhaps we do need to focus on certain things that we still need to heal as part of this. So it's all for the highest good in that respect, okay? Now, there is a grand trine, which is this lighter green triangle that I've drawn just to differentiate, okay? And that's going from Juno in Virgo to Uranus in Taurus, down to Pluto in Aquarius. And of course, Pluto is in retrograde. And at the beginning of September, we'll be moving back into Capricorn. There's other astrology videos I've done on that, so check that out if that resonates. But that's really going to shake up foundations and structures that are not serving us once and for all, because we're going to be then moving fully into the age of Aquarius. Okay. But here we've got Juno, which represents love and marriage, but ultimately commitment. Okay, so it can relate to soul contracts as well. Uranus, which is all about change, and it can be sudden, unexpected change as well, but change nonetheless, innovation, liberation, freedom, because Uranus rules Aquarius. And then Pluto, of course, deep transformation. So this grand trine, all of these are working in harmony with one another. We've got 2 planets and we've got 1 asteroid here, and we've got earth energy and air energy. And interestingly, we've got mutable energy of Virgo, we've got fixed energy of Taurus, and we have got the fixed energy of Aquarius. So there is something to say about having a kind of fixed vision of our reality here as we're moving forward. And maybe we do need to adjust that because of what I said before about surrendering to the outcome. Okay, we need to be focused on what we need to change, of course, but how that might happen, you know, we need to be a bit more flexible. So the mutable energy of Juno is really all about our commitment to ourself, and also in terms of the things and the people that we're engaging with. Okay, so that is what is going to flow when it comes to the change and the transformation. It's ultimately about our commitment to ourselves, our commitment to our path, and our commitment to what we're doing, our commitment to other people, okay? And how we can be quite structured about that with the Virgo energy, okay? How we need to clean things up by committing to ourselves. And also, you know, worth and values comes into this as well, because that's where the change is needed. That's where Uranus is. So as we change our worth and values, because we're evolving and healing, then we can adjust our commitments. And the deep transformation that's happening, it's showing us where we do need to change certain things. But overall, if we have that commitment to self, we can ebb and flow with what is changing. That's the mutable energy of Virgo. It's structured energy, but it's mutable energy, okay? And the other thing I wanted to point out on this chart is this yod. So we've got this other triangle here that is in white, if you can see it in white, and it's pointing towards Venus. So I've obviously mentioned before about Venus being on the regal star Regulus, okay? And at the base here, we've got Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, also currently in retrograde, and Pluto. So this deep transformation is very much guiding towards our regal essence. This is why it's important to relate everything back to our regal values, upholding that first of all, and owning who we are as a regal being. With Neptune in Pisces, of course, that's Neptune's home. So there is a spiritual essence here. The veil is being lifted on certain things, certain situations, and we're understanding more about our regal essence and also what might be or what might not be in alignment with us. Okay, the veil is being lifted because Neptune is in retrograde. We're also being encouraged to connect more with our intuition. So that's, of course, going to guide us forward as well. But this is where, you know, the deep transformation that's needed and that connection to source energy is really driven by our regal essence. So once again, this is all about our regal values and upholding them in terms of what we're wanting to manifest for our reality that's going to enable this profound transformation, and how we can be committed to ourselves in that way to facilitate change, the change that's needed ultimately. So very, very key points here, but they all relate to us upholding that regal nature. And with Leo, of course, yes, we might need to find the courage to even admit that to ourselves. And with a new moon, it's about a fresh beginning. It's a new start. Okay, so it's almost that realization and recognition. And dare I say it, with Neptune in Pisces in retrograde, there may be spiritual awakenings going on where people are finally waking up to the fact that they are regal sovereign beings, and actually feeling, and this is what I feel to say, enough is enough. This is the point now where enough is enough. I've been trundling along doing X, Y, Z, maybe for other people, or maybe just doing things that you thought were in alignment, but now no longer are, whatever it might be. I've been trundling along, but actually I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling that fifth house energy of that love, that heart-centered love and joy. And Leo season is encouraging me to really immerse myself in that. So if I don't feel like that, then okay, the veil is being lifted. Perhaps I'm awakening more to the fact that that's now out of alignment for me and I need to do something else. So it is prompting change, but it might be fueled from that spiritual awakening. And spiritual awakenings, if you've not been through them, can feel quite harsh. They can feel quite intense. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on, especially if you're experiencing physical symptoms as well. But it's all about waking us up to our true essence and what is not in alignment with us, what we're going to tolerate and what we're not going to tolerate anymore. And that's what creates a change, okay? Upholding that regalness, okay? So very, very powerful. And I'm just going to show you very quickly the chart for the UK. So I've mentioned that it's in the first house. Okay, so you'll see in the middle, this is what I've drawn on the other chart, just to show you what we've got in the mix here. But there you go. It's the sun and the moon that are standing alone in the first house when it comes to the UK's natal chart. So of course, look at your own natal chart against the transits of the new moon as an event and see where that might be falling for you. Okay. And, that's all about the self. That's all about putting ourselves first. So the regal values, this is all about walking that path, that sovereign path of understanding what is right for us and what isn't. And this is the reality we want to create for ourselves, regardless of what other people think or what other people might expect us to do. This is about our path. This is about the self. Okay. And understanding here that with this yod, okay, because Venus is in the second house, we've got Neptune in the ninth, and we've got Pluto in the seventh. So this is worth and values, okay, that could be connected to relationships with people, places, things where that deep transformation is needed, and how we've learnt and discovered what that might be, again, through that spiritual connection, through a potential spiritual awakening, through the veil being lifted. Okay, and remember here, Saturn is also in Pisces. So these lessons that we're learning and Saturn is putting us through is showing us this. It's revealing more of this to us. We just need to uphold our sovereignty. And of course, Chiron is there 2 degrees away from the UK sun. So it's very much hitting us on a sovereign soul perspective. Okay. So I just wanted to give you that as some insight as well. And I've got some cards here just to take some additional messages. Okay, Star Coast Astro. Let's just see what the new moon in Leo, if there's any additional messages, please, the new moon in Leo has in store, or what we might need to know. I think that one wanted to be seen. Bear with me. Oh, wow. I can see it. That was actually the force that flew out then. Thank you, Spirit. Look. So this is about embodying that Leo energy 100%. And on the bottom of the deck, we've got 5th house, which is the 5th house of Leo. So it's about love, passion, artistic expression, that authentic expression from the self. And underneath that, 1st house arrival. So a reminder of the self as well. But interestingly, as I was shuffling, we've also got here 8th house mystery. Okay, so it's about understanding that some things may not have been revealed as yet. The veil might still be lifting. It's being open to that. It's that curiosity that I mentioned before. Okay, But wow, that lion wanted to be seen. Absolutely. Okay, let's go for the Queen of the Moon, because the Queen of the Moon is Regal. So let's see what we've got. Okay, for the collective, please. Additional messages. New moon in Leo. Thank you. Okay, so we've got will. This is about having that willpower, but also understanding that we've got free will. Okay, we've got free will in this reality. So we have, certainly when we look at astrology, we've got things in our chart that show us what is divinely intended for us. Okay. And diving deep into the natal chart, or even looking at your chart against a new moon for a horoscope or anything like that, is going to show you the potentiality, because that's how things are lining up with the energy. But we've all got free will. So if we choose not to align with it, that's our free will. Okay. So it's having the will, but don't forget, it's also having the willpower. So what's the word that's missing from that? Power. So we've got the power, we've got the free will, in order to make the choices that we feel are best in alignment for us. Okay, and only we know that. Only we know that, and our intuition might guide us in a different direction because we need to learn certain lessons, or we need to discover something more. Our intuition might be screaming at us to say, you know, this is what needs to change. So we've got free will at all times. That's the beauty of this 3D reality. Okay, even though it can feel quite intense sometimes, but we have the gift of free will to make the choices. Okay, it's our responsibility, basically. Okay, and just as I say that, actually, it's our responsibility. So therefore, if we want to make the change, it's incumbent upon us to make that change. Okay, we have got from the Moonology manifestation deck, we've got trust the universe. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Trusting the universe in terms of manifestations, but surrendering to the outcome. And then on the bottom, we've got lighten up. Okay, so this is about, because underneath that, we've got find a balance. So this is all about giving ourselves a break, because especially, again, if you're going through anything like a spiritual awakening, the veil's being lifted, you're kind of like receiving all this information at once, it can be very overwhelming. So this is about lightening up in terms of, okay, we need to actually take some of the pressure off here, breathe through it, enable that courageous lion to come through, but also be kind. So there needs to be that nurturing element as well. That's what it feels. That's what the balance is between the feminine and the masculine. We want to take action, but we need to nurture ourselves as well. And there's something to be said about fairness here. And I'm very much drawn to the image on this card. It's a path. You know, so this is our path forward. The moon is lighting the way. So this new moon might also bring some answers. Okay, it's being open to those, but from a place of balance and fairness, and certainly reciprocity when it comes to that Venus energy. Okay, remember, Venus is on Regulus, the regal star. Investments need to be in alignment with our regal values. Okay, and then finally, from the wisdom of the oracle, okay, new moon in Leo, what do we have, please, for the collective? Very interesting. Apologies. Got one that came out. Let's see if we've got anything more, please. Let's settle the energy. I have a bit of hair that keeps really bothering me. Right. Leo new moon. What do we have, please? What do we have for Leo new moon? Okay. Right. So first of all, we've got a change in the wind. And we've also got here and now. So it's very important to remain in the present moment. Okay, even though manifestations and intention settings are actually looking ahead because it's what we're wanting to manifest, but doing so from the moment of being present, not focusing too much on the past and not focusing on the outcome. okay, birthing something new in the moment, okay, in accordance with those values, because we can become too attached to the past, and also the stories of the past where things haven't worked out. Oh, I can't possibly manifest this for my life, even if I do feel regal, because I tried that before, it didn't work. Well, back then, maybe there was still some healing to go through. But now, being in a different place, different situation, different kind of vibe, different essence, different frequency, okay? It's all about being true to you in the present moment and understanding that things do shift and change, okay? Of course, the experiences we go through are going to allow us to evolve because we go through them. So we've learned something, even if it's been painful as a result, but really we need to carry that wisdom forward, okay? So that's what we carry forward with us in the present moment, is that wisdom from the past, but not to be attached to the past. A change in the wind. Change is coming. Change is certainly coming. And this is all about understanding the balance that's needed, but also that things are naturally going to be falling away, okay, as a result of this. And that's okay, because remember what I said at the beginning. It's about detaching from things or you know, certain situations or people that kind of naturally fall out of alignment. And it's nothing bad. It's no reflection on anything, apart from us moving forward on this journey, okay? So these things happen, these things do happen. Everything serves a purpose, and everyone we meet, there is purpose to everything. And it's understanding that, but also understanding that things naturally change and evolve, okay? I feel there's one more in the wisdom of the oracle. And if it's the one I'm thinking about, we shall see. What else do we have, please? It wasn't the one I was thinking about. Let's have a look here. Right, we've got flexible. So yeah, we need to also be flexible in our situations. That is actually that Juno in Virgo energy. So flexible in our commitment to ourselves, okay, to remain poised and balanced within our own regal essence, but to be flexible in terms of how certain changes might then be reflected back to us in our external reality. Okay, it's being confident in that, because we are living in the here and now, okay, and accepting that change is a natural part of this process. That's a natural part of the path as we move forward, okay? Otherwise, we're just stagnant. So, yes, there we go. On the bottom, time for a nap. You might feel like it's time for a nap because going through this journey can be very tiring, can be very challenging, can be very arduous, but also it can be very liberating. So we need to look for those moments. That's where the nuggets of wisdom come from, and what certain things have taught us, and how much more of a regal being we are as a result of going through these things. It's all for our highest good, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. So it's upholding your values, upholding your worth as a sovereign being, and really embracing, certainly on this new moon in Leo, the regal values, because Venus is on Regulus, the regal star, okay? This is what is going to enable this deep transformation, but the waters might need to be shaken up a little bit to get that clarity, certainly from an emotional home perspective and from a soul essence perspective, okay? It could also be that there's, you know, sort of fiery stuff going on like globally, but essentially we need to focus on our own journey and understand that we are in control of our own journey, of our own choices, okay? And we need to align with that regal essence within in order to move forward. Okay, so I'm sending all the best. Happy new moon blessings and intention settings. So motorbikes go past. That's obviously fast movement. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.